All in favor? Or we don't need a motion?
No.
Yep.
Okay. Designated newspaper of general circulation, I suggest our Vermont Journal.
I'm good with that.
Yep.
Okay. And adopt Robert's Rules of Order.
I'm good with that as well.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Consideration of any changes, additions, or removal to the agenda. Number 4, public comments. Do we have any this week?
I just wanted to check. No, I just wanted to check also to see if there's anybody on Zoom.
Nobody on?
I thought there might be. Okay, all right, thank you.
Approval of minutes, February 26, 2026, regular meeting.
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes for February 26th.
And I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Department managers report.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Can pass that on, Lloyd. All right, so it's interesting because I did this on Sunday, and I now have 4 other things to add. But I'll try and be quick. Annual audit, virtually done, but we're not going to hear from them until Monday. We hear that we're going to get a draft by Monday. Again, still, I don't think there are any issues, except for I'll say that, what I learned is there have been some questions back and forth about the accounting of the AMI meters and how they're, because there's a grant from VEPSA, or from the state, there's a grant from VEPSA, we pay for them, we ask for reimbursement. It's a mess from an accounting standpoint. We've kind of been in the lead of trying to figure that out, and we've been coordinating with some of other VEPSA members to make sure everybody's doing it consistently. So that'll actually help KBS when they audit other utilities, but that might be the only question about how that's treated, and it's not a material issue at all. All right, I'm going to skip over Stonehouse Solar because really nothing's new other than stuff going back and forth. Okemo sent me a final agreement for the compressor project, which I've signed, sent back to them, not heard. Getting executed signatures back from people is really problematic, so I've got to follow up and get that. And I don't know whether it had to go to Vail, to Colorado to get signed or not, but I don't think there's any,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any problem there at all. All right. I'm going to skip over the demand rate tariff because when we talk about that, I've got a suggestion for you that I want to talk about when we get to that issue on the agenda. EV charging stations still on hold. Waiting to talk to Penny until after this vote, after she got through this hectic week. And
She's gone for the week, she'll be back.
Yeah, I don't blame her for taking a week off. So anyway, I'll regroup with her when she's back and we'll talk about it. Regulators at Howard Barton Jr. have been in contact with our attorney, who's been in contact with the Department of Public Service. I've talked to the Department of Public Service. They're still deciding what we need, if anything, to move, from a permitting standpoint, to move forward with the installation of the regulators. And this is everywhere from, you're not making a significant change, so no permitting is required, to, hey, we've never seen this substation before because it existed before 248 process existed, so it was grandfathered. But because we're making changes to it, then they might want to look at the whole thing. I honestly don't know the answer yet.
So my question, what's going to be, what is it going to look like? I guess it's going to look like.
There's nothing really changing.
nothing
If you were to
changed.
drive
Okay.
by, you will not. I mean, the
Okay.
fence is bumping out the regulators are pretty close to
That's
the
fine.
same size that are
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah,
Okay.
this started with
The
a
fence is bumping out
10 feet on one side, 3
3
feet
feet
on
on the
another.
other,
Okay.
so it's really.
It's not, yeah.
The aesthetics of it's not gonna change.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, the regulatory structure for getting
That's
this
fine.
fully permitted, we're still in limbo. All right, when we get to Flatland Solar, I'll talk about that project, because I think we're ready to go with that. And then the 4 other things I've added are, one, as a result of the vote to do the merger, just to get on the record, the fact that what needs to happen now, there's an appeal period. When that appeal period goes, there's a legislative process where at the legislature, they have to approve this. I think Logan's gonna be instrumental in trying to move this forward before they leave this session, which will be helpful, but don't really know. But at some point, this board will have to discuss when and how to expand the board as the town of Ludlow Electric Department versus the village, but that's not something you have to do now, or probably even in the next couple of months, but I just wanted to put it on the radar screen. Speaking of legislation, there are 2 pieces of legislation that are going before there that I just want to make you aware of. S202 is called the Portable Solar Energy Generation Devices Act, and it allows people to plug in a solar array into their electric system in like a 110 outlet, just like plug it in. There are issues with that, as there are with any generation. Normally, power is flowing one way, right, from the generator to the user, and you don't have to worry about stuff coming back into the system. The reason solar panels, like solar arrays, have interceptor and shut off things and a separate meter is to be able to control that and to make sure it doesn't backflow into the system when some of Brett's people are out, like working on a wire. This has similar issues. The legislature thinks they were resolved with a UL underwriter certification, but they're not. So that is up in the air, but that could be problematic, and it's relevant to something else that I think Brett will probably cover in his report. So we're keeping an eye on that. And then S230 is probably more directly relevant to us because it's probably going to happen. It was originally called in the Senate flexible working arrangements, but in this House it's called fair employment practices, but it all relates to excessive temperature, heat and cooling, where you have to, the legislature is proposing that you have a plan for your employees when they are having to work in conditions over 80 degrees or under 35 degrees. Those boundaries make sense for in-office people, like you say, okay, if it's over 80 degrees in the office and I can't control that, go home, or under 35, but there's no distinction between inside office people and outside people, and these guys are gonna have to work, but we already have, in our union contract and in our personnel manual, we have controls to say, in conditions over 90 degrees, we take certain steps, and under 0, we take certain steps. So it could be that this conflicts with our personnel manual and our IBEW contract, and we'll just have to see how that plays out. But it could be problematic, and it's one of the things that I wanted to talk, back last year when in the garage in his shop, it was hot. We started talking about getting, cooling systems, heat exchange, heat pumps, multi-split heat pumps. I think we should revisit that anyway, because it's probably gonna be hot this summer. So I want them to have, a system in place that is comfortable, at least to go to when you're not outside. But that's a bill that we should be following. Both passed the Senate, they're now in the House. So the likelihood that something is gonna come out is actually pretty high on both of those things.
Excuse me, but they don't, they don't have a difference between indoor and outdoor workers?
Not that I saw in the bills
Huh.
so far. What they say is, that you have to have a plan, so it's another plan we'll have to develop, right? But they say, if it's more than 80 degrees outside employees need to be able to get into a vehicle that has air conditioning or something like that, okay. But how what the working conditions are, whether they're allowed to work more than 80 degrees out is unclear by this bill. And if it's left unclear, then I would say we go back to our union and other stuff.
Okay.
So I just want to make you aware of it. It's just, something to keep track of, and we'll know probably by next month whether either of those are going to become law. This other thing to add is, yesterday, Brett and I attended a VEPSA kickoff meeting for SCADA, for the SCADA system, which we were independently pursuant to a grant. After that meeting, I guess I would say that it looks like VEPSA is moving forward quickly enough that we should join that and switch our grant application to the vegetative management thing that Brett wants to do and get equipment. It's more aligned. I could talk about that more when we get to the capital budget, because those are the changes that are in the capital budget, along with the second truck. So I think I'll stop there and see if you all have any questions.
Did you want to talk about affordable community renewal? Or not?
I can. So that.
It's in your report.
It is in my
If you
report.
wanted to let-
I figured, yes, it's in my report. Basically, that program is moving forward. They've resolved how they're gonna treat people who leave the program or have a balance in the accounts. If they cancel their electric bill and they have a balance, not particularly happy with it, but it says that, we basically pay them for that. So they get credit of $18.55 for 5 years. If they build up a balance of credit, then that gets paid to them. This all gets reimbursed by VEPSA anyway under the part of the grant, but the applications are open from April 7th, so a week from now or 2 weeks from now through August 31st. You have to apply to that if you're eligible. It's 185% of the poverty level. If you're within that, or get fuel assistance or food stamps, you're likely eligible, and you will get that payment per month for 5 years. And we're doing some outreach on it. VEPSA is doing some outreach on it. We have flyers and other things that people can, we want people who are in need of this to use it. Under the terms of the grant, VEPSA is targeting us to get about 79 people in the community to do this. And Jean has been really stalwart and active in terms of identifying places we should let people know about this program, and we'll continue to do so.
Are we gonna mail something in?
Yes.
How's that gonna
So
go?
we are including in this coming month's bill, so that one that goes out the end of March
Mhm.
is gonna have a 2-page flyer, the flyer from VEPSA that they provided. It's front and back, so that's gonna cost us 2 times, it's 1 page, so it'll physically go out as 1 page to those folks, and for those who are receiving electronic stuff, it'll go out as a PDF, and that will include the application itself in terms of the electronic version that goes out. The mailed version that goes out will not include the actual application form, but it'll have a link to go to get the application form. An extra page in the billing would have cost us additional money and additional postage and a bunch of other stuff that just didn't seem worthwhile to do for that purpose. It is also on our website in terms of both the flyer and the form. We've got it at the office, at the drive-through. We're talking to the town about putting it on their website we'll also post it in usual places.
So when we do send that out, I would make a note, like, if you don't have the internet or a printer or such,
Good
you
point.
can come to the office and pick up this form.
Good point.
Yep.
So does it, well, I guess it would have to, does it get mailed to Ludlow addresses? Does
No.
it get
No, it
mailed
just-
to?
No, the
It just
application-
comes in the bill, it just comes in your bill.
It comes in the
No,
bill,
but-
and it's
no,
got a
but
VEPSA address to send it to.
Okay, no, but I mean.
Neither
are
of us
all
answered her
all
question.
all of our folks that get an electric bill,
Yeah.
regardless of whether they live in Vermont or they're second
Correct.
homeowners.
They will get it.
Everyone's gonna get,
Everyone will get it,
okay.
yes.
And who does that for us, the folks that?
A Clara, who we do, it's not a Clara.
NISC.
NISC, and no, for the payroll, it's payroll separate, sorry. NISC will do this for us at a cost.
Okay.
And
all
they
right,
send
but
out
you're-
the
it's-
bills.
Okay,
But it's part of the standard billing process that we have.
okay,
laid
so
out.
it's not something that you do in the office or?
No, no.
And I think you and I talked about this. Does VEPSA pay any of that expense? Since it's.
They,
th-
they did not offer it originally, but when I said, I was kind of annoyed that they were getting an administrative fee, and yet we are the ones who have to do the billing and stuff like this. They said, well, if you incur expenses, let us know, we'll do that.
So let's do that.
We will do that.
Good.
Thank you.
Good, thanks.
I'm glad you brought that up.
So I think I'm done, unless you have other questions about the report.
Number 7, outside operations managers report.
Okay, nothing on streetlights. Meter reading is done. We finished that today. Substation maintenance, we talked about the Howard Barton Junior rigs, and there's a reclosure in Smithville. Both are on the schedule to get done this summer. 3 dig safe locates, those are starting to pick back up. Outages during that windstorm, we had one on Fox Lane, and the Ellison Lake Road wasn't an outage, but we ended up have to take it out in order to get the tree off the line. 2 new service upgrades, line trimming, there was a spur line on Commonwealth.
So,
needed-
what is a service upgrade?
So if they go from like a 100 amp to a 200 amp service,
Okay,
yeah, a lot of that happened. You know, they're doing away with a 100 amp
why?
because they're putting heat pumps in or
Okay,
doing,
all right.
you know, they need them,
tub.
need
Okay.
hot tubs or
Okay. Okay,
safety meeting was arc flash, hot stick safety, and also on top of that, all our stuff was tested last month. All our cover and blankets and sticks and all that stuff was tested. Gets done yearly. Shop office maintenance, winter maintenance. The AMI meters were down to just over 800 left to change. We were a little off on our inventory, so we're in the process of trying to figure out the time frame of what it's gonna take to get. We were like 200 short on, just shy of 200 short on 2 S meters and like 50 short on 12 S meters, so we gotta try to find the turnaround time and kind of figure out what we wanna keep on hand and in stock.
Do you keep extra just in
Yeah.
case? Yeah.
We have some inventory,
Yeah.
but also, correct me if I'm wrong, but right now, because we're trying to reserve some of the meters, a few of the meters in case they go bad, we're putting in different meters into new places that we otherwise will have to change out again, is that?
No,
No, we're
no,
not
we're
doing
not
that?
changing anything
Okay.
else, they'll just wait until we get the.
They'll wait, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And one of the other issues in the meter changeouts, got a customer, actually thought he was gonna be on tonight, is they make a device for a generator that goes between the meter socket and the meter. It's all certified. I don't encourage putting them in. I haven't accepted them to this point because it creates a point of failure for our guys trying to troubleshoot if something goes wrong with the meter. It also bumps the meter out so it sticks out of the house farther, so it puts more weight on the meter socket. I'm not a fan of it. You might hear from this guy at some point, and so I wanted you to know aware of it. It's out on the Route 100 North. They make them for generators, they make them for solar interconnects, but it creates another trouble point where it can short, or, they don't have power, or it's not reading through the meter, and then it's another troubleshooting cause for us to try to figure out where we pull the meter, we test the socket, we throw the meter back in, or we replace the meter. If that's failed, we don't know what the issue is with it.
So essentially that is, say we lose power, it goes to their generator.
Well, they
and
plug
it's-
their generator into it, and it's an inner disconnect is what it is. But they
Oh.
make a safer disconnect. They make a separate box where they can feed their generator in. It doesn't tie into the meter socket or any of that.
Yeah.
But the electrician pulled the meter without my permission for the first thing and put this socket in. And I told the customer, I said, the electrician should make this right on you because he did not do what he was supposed to do.
Mhm.
How, maybe a silly question, how would he know that, the electrician?
They know they're supposed to contact us before they pull. They're not allowed to pull our
All
meter.
right, understand, okay.
They cut the seal, it's tampering with the seal, and we can fine them for that.
Okay, all right.
So I think an important thing to understand here is always own the meters.
Yeah.
Customer always owns the socket. This is something in between. And the reason I said that this is kind of related to the solar thing is because if there's a failure and somebody's running a generator on this line because power is out, and these guys are out trying to fix that power, and something gets backflowed through, that's a problem.
Mhm.
Same with the solar thing, it's almost the same issue. So the way to do this correctly is you set up a generator interface with a separate shutoff, separate line, and that's after the meter, right?
Mhm.
And that's the way it's supposed to be done. Where these are coming from and how frequent they are, I don't know, but this is the first we've heard of it. But the reality is nobody should be taking out a meter for us unless we've approved it in advance, and nobody should be putting something between the meter and the socket that can cause problems with.
How did you know that?
We went to change the meter.
So if
I
you
mean,
hadn't,
they should have picked it up when they read the meter the month before, and then they went to
Okay.
change the meter out to put the AMI meter in, and that's how they discovered it and brought it to my attention. So
Okay.
that's when I contacted the electrician, and then the homeowner called me arguing that,
okay.
well, it's all certified in this, and
So with the new meters, are they going to be able to do that? Or
No.
no, good, okay.
I don't recommend it because it's a trouble point there. I mean, there's safer ways and better ways of doing
Okay.
it, but it was a more inexpensive way for him out of it. But the electrician should have never done it without
Okay.
prior approaching us about whether it was acceptable.
Have you talked to the electrician?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's been having lots of good conversations
Oh, yeah.
with both.
Mhm.
I interpreted your question a little differently, like with the AMI meters, will we see if this is happening elsewhere? And I guess the answer is probably not.
We won't know if it happens, but we will know the minute they pull that meter, because it'll show that it's gone out
Okay,
of service.
all right.
And they can't do it with the AMI.
Well, they can.
If
I
you-
mean,
if they already have
They
an
could cut the seal
AMI.
and pull the meter.
So, but if they already have the AMI meter, they pull it, they do this. Because we're not reading meters anymore, how are we to find out if they've done this?
Well, we'll know if it comes disconnected.
Oh, it'll automatically, yeah,
It'll
okay.
set off, so we'll see
Yeah.
that power failed, the meter was pulled.
I see.
We can go check it.
Yeah.
But also, we're not gonna go every month, but probably like
You're
every
still-
3 months, we're gonna
Right.
make routine checks around all
Right,
these.
right, right.
Check the line trimming, check services.
Right,
I mean, we'll physically
You'll see it, yeah.
see it, but the problem is they might be there, you know, they could change it, we could go through here tomorrow and then they change it
Change
on
it
Saturday
next day.
and
Right.
we'll go 3 months before we come across it, or 4 months, depending on,
Unless it's
Well,
an
also
AMI
it's-
meter. If it's an AMI meter, you'll
we'll
automatically
know
get
once
an
they
alert
pull it,
that it's,
and then we
yeah,
can go
okay.
check it.
We'll get a disconnect, but we won't necessarily know what that is unless we do send
Somebody out to check it out,
look
yeah.
at it. The other thing is to know, my understanding of this, and correct me Ken if I'm wrong, these are pretty small, so the ability to see them from, as you're walking 30 feet away to see if they're line and stuff is gonna be
Right.
somewhat difficult.
No, I mean,
So
they're
it
they're
brings-
about
About
that
that
thick.
thick,
They make the
okay.
meter stick out about
Yeah.
that far.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess in the next,
I guess it's something we're gonna have to pay attention to.
Right.
yeah.
On the other hand,
So it's an
and I'll
extra,
say-
what, 3 inches off the
Yeah,
house?
yeah. But I mean, it's pretty noticeable if you walk up, I mean, if you
Yeah.
walk up to the meter socket, you're gonna see it right
So
off the bat.
talking to the boys or whoever's
Right.
doing the meter checking to really,
Pay attention
Yeah.
to it.
And as in my prior residence, a GMP customer, without any disparagement intended, the reliability of our electric system, I don't even know why somebody wants to put in a generator, but that's just me.
That is,
Okay, that's it for me.
all right. Discussions and action on amendment to employee handbook.
Okay, so I'm gonna draw your attention to your book with these little orange tags. In the back tag, because there's an employee handbook section already, if you go to the one that says item 8, there should be a number on the thing, right? So this came out of the fact that our HRAs that we normally offer to employees are restricted only to the regular Blue Cross Blue Shield program that we offer. Those who have transitioned to the Medicare GAP program, they're not eligible for that. Employees have raised questions about that, feeling like they're being slighted, of feeling like they are like losing a benefit that they used to have. It's not eligible for it. So we wanted to do an amendment to the personnel manual to clarify that it's eligible employees participating in eligible plans that can get the HRA or HSA and avoid further, concern from employees, that it says, every employee, we shall do this for employees. Well, we can't. So that's the clarification that's before you. The proposal that you have at your tab is to change that section. We're keeping the amendments in red and changing on the front page of the employee handbook. It says when it's amended dates. I imagine for any change we're gonna make, we're gonna have these type of amended by such and such a date. And eventually you'll say there are enough amendments, we wanna redo the plan, but this is an easy way to kind of keep official copies going and to make sure
Mhm.
we're amending the right thing. So the concept is to amend it to clarify that only eligible plans, eligible employees with eligible plans can participate in the HRA.
And how many amendments do you think we should have before actual changing
It
the?
depends how significant they are, I would say. If they're
Yeah.
things like this, I think you could go like 5 or 6 or a year or so.
I was gonna say, that based on what I see, this is not a significant change.
Correct.
It seems to be a wording
Right.
change.
Yes.
Is that correct?
I think that's
Is-
fair. I think
is
that's
that-
fair.
Is that, how, would that have a significant impact on our budget at some point, this change?
No, this change will not.
Okay.
This
Okay.
change will not have a significant impact on our budget. I think it's important to keep the personnel manual up to date because it was what was referred to by the staff that were complaining, saying, it says here that you do this, and, well, we can't.
Okay.
I know, Jean, particularly with your focus of like, I hope everybody appreciates our benefits package. This is one of those examples where this becomes
And the lawyer didn't catch this, or at the time, it wasn't
No,
an
no,
issue,
it wasn't
Lisa?
an issue. It wasn't an issue, and also remember, Lisa and I, and it's probably why she wanted to raise her hand, we're the ones who brought this down from 52 pages to 32 pages.
Which was a huge step
So, we
forward.
might have, but I think this language was probably about the same.
Okay,
At the time, we only had one insurance. We didn't offer the gap insurance for the Medicare
That's also true.
employees, so at the time,
So-
we didn't need this.
Okay.
Right.
That's fine.
Now that when we made that change, it wasn't caught that this and that.
And as far as, everyone who's in the union.
Yeah, good question. Thank you. I didn't even ask you to ask that.
Yeah.
I did check this with Jeff Lamette for the
Yeah.
union rep, because even though we're not changing the IBEW contract, the IBEW contract says that those employees are entitled to the same things that we're getting in main things,
Right.
and to check with them if there's a level of change. There's not a level of change here, but just to make sure, I sent him this language, I told him what we were
Yeah.
doing. He thanked me for reaching out and doing that, so we're covered there.
Covering all
It's not-
bases. Good, okay.
I'll make the motion to accept the change before us.
I'll accept that motion to change, the amendment on our Village Electric Employee Handbook. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
There's one other thing, being that we brought up Wilmette. I know I brought this to you guys' attention before. We're gonna try the 4 9-hour workday with a 4-hour on Friday, starting April 6th, and see how it goes.
What is it, Brett?
It's 4 9s Monday through Thursday, and then 4 hours on Friday.
That is consistent with kind of where we had left the union negotiations. We're
Yeah.
gonna try it. And I think it will work fine. I think it'll work fine.
And
let's
this is
try
for
it.
outside
This is for the
folks.
outside
Okay.
folks only.
And is this something where we want to discuss holiday pay or?
Oh, I think we figured that out. Did we?
We're gonna,
I feel like it's,
we're
So-
gonna do the 8-hour day, do an 8-hour day. My plan was to do an 8-hour, because I don't think it's right that they would get a 9-hour payday, 9-hour holiday pay where the office doesn't. So,
true, but on 4th of July, when they work 4 hours, they're gonna get
No.
a 4-hour pay, not 8, right?
Right. So if the holiday falls on a Monday, which would be a 9-hour workday,
yeah,
or if the holiday falls on a Friday, which would be a 4-hour workday, what are we paying them in holiday pay? The 4 hours, the 9 hours?
I had our HR expert review this. Is it okay to ask her to weigh in here?
Absolutely.
So
Lisa?
my original thought was to do 8 hours or whatever they're scheduled to work
Mhm.
that day. After getting information from Jeff, Brett and I talked, and based on.
Jeff Waddell.
the contract.
Well, or Walnut, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Waymet, sorry.
Yep.
Based on the union contract and what other unions do, they keep it at the 8 hours. There were options. We could do 9 hours for every day, whether it was a 9-hour day or a 4-hour day. We could keep it at 8 hours and have them make up the hour on their and then if it falls on a Friday, they could do their half day on another day. And they would have to make up the hour on the other day that they're working a half day. And that seems to be the best option with the options that Jeff gave us.
So it would be,
So,
That's an update from what I knew.
so it would be
Yeah.
an 8-hour
So,
paid vacation any day of the week except for a Friday. If the holiday falls on a Friday, then we're giving them a 4-hour.
We would give them 8 hours, but they would work 4 hours.
Oh,
on-
okay.
on
like, say
Thursday.
we'd work
Okay.
Thursday,
Yeah.
5 hours, 5 hours.
Yeah.
We'd work 5 hours on Thursday for the Friday off.
Yeah.
And that would be an 8-hour holiday pay.
Okay.
So it would be equal across the board versus trying to,
Keeping it just
So-
an even
I'll
8
revisit
hours.
this
So,
with
I-
both these guys because this is,
Yes,
this
it
actually
is.
is new to me, this
Oh.
aspect.
yeah, I have a
This,
question too.
this reiteration is new to me.
Yeah.
Is this, for all the folks, outside folks, so that the shop's not open Friday afternoon? No,
Correct.
you gotta rotate people.
no, it would- shop would be closed.
It would be like an on-call situation, like if something happened,
Mhm.
there would be call-out lists, they'd come in,
So
but-
Friday afternoon would be on call.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's not changing the on-call pay or any of that because of.
Yeah. We'll see this again.
Yeah,
I'll
he'll,
let them say it again, because,
No, we'll see it
Well,
again at
yeah.
another
Yeah.
meeting, and I'd like to see it.
yeah, if you want to
written
see
out.
it, you'll see it, the discussion will occur. This was a concept, as you know, that was floated in the union thereafter. I thought it was going to be, us, but I'm happy to share it and see what we decide.
Yeah, because I think it should be
Agreed,
in, right, so it's clear to
Yeah.
everybody,
yeah.
especially since the whole board isn't here.
Yep, also true.
next month's agenda
Yeah.
discussion, yeah.
Okay. Over to you.
All right. Well, so you didn't want to do 10 and 11?
Oh, I do,
Okay.
but we'll get there. So, right now, we're on 9, I think.
Okay. Discussions and action on power service agreement with VEPSA for the Flatland Solar Project in Swanton.
Yeah. So, you may recall that last month, you gave me authorization to express interest in this project. Up to 30% was the concept, and they had to figure out how they were gonna allocate it based on the need of members for the renewable energy credits, which is primarily the benefit of this for us. And they ended up deciding that they wanted to allocate 20% to us. I sent that to you previously, but I have it here to review if you want, about the other, there are 7 utilities that are participating, and the lowest is 8% for Enosburg, Hardwick, Jacksonville. Highest is 25% for Northfield. And they're recommending us at 20 and Stowe at 15, and that covers kind of the members. And actually, Stowe is not a member, but wants to participate because they want to get back into being a member.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm recommending we go forward with this, and that you authorize me to sign the power service agreement for this project at the $114 per kilowatt hour, per megawatt hour, sorry.
102.40,
100. Let me get back here. Sorry, 1 second.
and that's 20% share, correct?
20% share at, I want to make sure I get this number right, because it is higher than, I did say it last month, but I didn't bring it with me. Let me see what the contract says. My apologies for this, but it's at the rate I said it was going to be last month, which is not particularly helpful, but
The project price,
might be in the minutes. Yes,
it's
thank you.
122.40,
Thank
same as your report. And the only thing difference is, so it's recommending 30%, and the agreement you're suggesting is 20%.
Correct.
Okay,
Thank you. Thanks for doing that.
so I'll make that a motion.
I'll second that motion. Allowing Chris to sign off on the Swanton Solar Project.
Sign the
Flatlands-
agreement.
Sign the
yeah.
agreement on
Thank
the
you.
Flatland Solar Project in Swanton for 20%. All in favor? Oh.
Probably Lisa will get this, but it should be at a cost of 122.40.
All right, should we start this
Thank
motion
you.
again?
Yeah, Lisa, you have that?
Motion is,
122.40.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, just should be on the record.
So I will second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
great, thank you.
Passed. Okay. Discussions and action on financing new bucket truck.
Yep. So, item 10, you'll find a little orange tag there with a couple of proposals. We looked at 3 different ways of financing this. One was to look at the state grant that allows municipalities to fund equipment. It was limited, however, to $150,000, and it was a lovely interest rate at 2%, but we weren't gonna get there with a $450,000 bucket truck. We then went to M&T and to the manufacturer of this, Altech. You'll see both of these in here. M&T came in with a municipal rate for a 7-year project at 4.896. I have confirmed that it was a municipal
You did, good, okay,
discounted,
thanks.
tax exempt
Yeah.
rate. And then you got this sheet behind that, still under the same orange tag, if you
Keep going, yeah, right.
which is Altech's proposal. And by the way, these were both lease purchases, lease, not like a straight car loan as you think of, but a lease purchase, which means you're basically obligated, as we understand it, to pay, even if you pay off early, you gotta pay the full interest that would have been due for the lease. So, still in talking about it, we thought the 7-year term made more sense. But the equivalent for the Altech, for the municipal tax exempt rate was 6.25%, so we'd be doing a couple of points better to go with M&T. So we are suggesting that you approve the M&T bank financing and authorize me to execute that for a 7-year
And
term.
is this a lease agreement?
Yeah.
No.
It's a
I-
lease purchase, so it's
Purchase, okay.
essentially, right.
Yeah,
a little
explain
different.
that
Yeah,
different, please.
so, like a regular car loan, if you were to get a regular car loan, they would give you the car loan, they keep the title, and you pay it off with the interest rate accumulating, and if you paid it off early, you paid it off early, and you didn't incur the interest going forward. Under a lease purchase structure, they give you a better interest rate than they otherwise would give you, and they give you the terms that you want. You could have done 6 years or 7 years. I'll explain why we are thinking we should do 7 years. But you still have the ability to pay it off early if you wish, but you're incurring the lease. That lease is a contract that you have to pay the cost on. You still get to buy the truck, because it's structured to be able to buy the truck at a particular interest rate, and that's what you're basically doing. So I've asked for clarification about that, whether we incur the full interest rate that's shown in the amortization chart here. I haven't gotten an answer from them, but I think under the lease structure, you can pay it off anytime you want, but you gotta pay ultimately the total interest that you would have paid on that to go forward.
Is that why it makes sense to do 7-year, or?
Well, it would normally make sense to do shorter years.
Right.
We're a little concerned about the cash flow. When I discussed this with Michael and we figured this out with the budgets and stuff, we felt like it's worth incurring that additional interest charge for the flexibility of being able to go 7 years.
So depending on how
Yes.
much money this is,
Yeah.
you're gonna keep this truck for 7 years.
Oh, we're gonna
No,
keep this
the
truck for
truck's
20 years.
20 years. It's a 20-year
Yeah.
truck.
Yeah.
That's good to know that.
Yes.
All right.
But another
thanks.
reason for doing the 7 years, and again, I mentioned cash flow, is
That's
that
fine.
he, he's gonna need to get another truck,
Right.
and you'll see that
I
in the
just-
capital budget.
Right, I just
Right.
want it for the record that
Oh, I see.
it's
The
it's a
buckets are-
20-year.
Yeah, the buckets and the
vehicle.
digger are all 20 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And the one that we're getting rid of is actually 26.
Because
Yeah,
without knowing
26
that,
years.
someone listening to this would say,
Right.
Oh,
oh,
7
why
years.
would you want
Right.
to do that?
Right.
So, thanks.
Understood, thank you for the
Thanks for
clarification.
clarifying
Yep.
that. I'll make, let's see, where is it? I'll make the motion to finance with M&T. Okay, for the new bucket truck. Just looking for that.
Thank you.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that clear enough?
Yeah, as
Motion?
long as you're authorizing me to execute
Yes.
the loan,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I think that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, number 11, discussions and action on revised capital budget.
Yeah, so this is related. Two things that are occurring here, and if you look at your tab 11, kind of in the back where the budget stuff is, I put that there. It's revised with the highlighted sections in yellow. What we're doing, two things that occurred last month was we learned that even though we're getting this new bucket truck, the other one is aging too, and we need to plan on the fact that it takes 3 or 4 years to get these in place, so we're putting that into a budget. You'll see that show up as a $525,000 purchase in 2028-29. That's kind of where we're putting it. It can move. And the bucket truck is expected to be less than the bucket truck we're buying in terms of cost, but we're also trying to anticipate increases in prices in the next 2 or 3 years, right? So it's kind of buffering that. And the second thing was to put in the new vegetative management equipment that Brett has talked about trying to do more of the vegetative management ourselves rather than contract it out, and to get a skid steer that has an attachment that can do off-road mowing and mulching without having to get the lower stuff before it gets big, right?
It's an excavator, not a skid steer.
It's an excavator. Okay, hydraulic
Yeah.
excavator.
So
Okay.
who can operate that? Any one of your people?
We've got 3 guys there that can do it. I can do it, Ryan can do it, Jeff can do it.
Okay. You have to have a special training?
CDL or
No.
no?
Okay,
No.
all right.
No
I mean,
special
It's kind of
training?
the same controls as our backhoe, I
Okay.
mean, as far as
Alright.
digging and
Okay.
that stuff.
No special training? Oh, so I can do it. No, just
Oh.
kidding. She
I wanted
smiles.
to make that,
Good point.
okay, thanks.
Are we gonna do a training situation for anyone?
Yeah, I mean, we'll do it, I mean, the dealer usually gives you,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So
That'd be
the
good to
reason
just
this
have, like,
relates,
sign off on something of training of any sort is.
yeah. So when I mentioned that there were some grant-related components to this or considerations, the SCADA project that we were applying for a grant through the Department of Public Service for, turns out, first of all, when that was first applied for in 2023, it was estimated to be about $110,000, something like that. It's really more like a $250,000 project if we were to do it on our own. The grant they had no more money for us to increase that, and it turned out to be a 49% cost share. So basically, through the grant, we'd only be getting 50% of the 100,000, which would mean, let's say we get 50,000, but the cost is 250,000, we got all that cost out of pocket. So, after discussion about the VEPSA SCADA project moving forward, and the fact that I felt fairly confident that it was moving forward in a timely way, like in months, not years, that we're better off glomming onto their project and seeing what they come up with. They'll do all the requests for proposals and get the bids, and we'll work with them to figure out what the standards are that we need to meet. But I felt like it was better to go that direction. Brett and I have talked about it, and I want to switch the grant application from the SCADA project to this excavator vegetation management. First of all, the total cost is more aligned with what the grant, what we've been allocated to consider, and it'll still have the 49% match, but this also, we have applied for this equipment under the Vermont municipal grant, the 2% loan thing, because it's better fit.
Is it 2 point?
It's 2% something, it's in that
2.26 or
2%, maybe.
2.6 something?
Okay, and it's $150,000 cap, which I mentioned before, which is why we're not doing a
Right.
bucket truck under it. But this fits better under that. And I think between those two, it will make more sense, and we'll still get the SCADA project done at a probably reduced cost of what it would cost for us to do it alone, and a better system that was more compatible with kind of what we were working with.
What's the time frame?
Timeframe was to do data gathering within the month of May, and to do the RFP the month after. So, for the SCADA project?
Yes.
Is that what, yeah,
Yes,
so
yes.
do the RFP and reviews within the next two months after that, June, July. If that can actually work, we'll still be putting the SCADA system in this year, which is what we had originally put
Okay.
in the capital budget.
And also, just now that we're not doing the meter reading, to fill our time with doing something like vegetation and saving money that way.
Yeah,
I
we're
think
also
it's-
losing our tree trimmers come September.
Right.
so.
And
They're retiring, so.
yeah, I didn't know that. And it used to be a 7-year project, one end of town to the other, right?
Right,
But now we're finding that
probably around a 5,
it's
5.5.
more gonna be like a 5. Do we have to put that into the budget?
Not into the budget,
Well,
well.
we have a line trimming budget that we keep
We do,
increasing.
we have it
maintaining.
yearly, we increased it
Mhm.
last year, and this year we got TDS to increase theirs.
Oh, okay.
Because last year we did our increase, and they're supposed to be for 50%, but they
Right,
didn't know about
right.
that. So this year, they've increased their budget too, so we have about 200,000. I think 100,000 from us and 100,000 from them.
It's 100,000, it's 50.
And we deal with that,
It's
TDS.
50/50?
50 and 50.
Okay, so 100,000 total.
And
Sorry.
TDS doesn't have a crew, or, we
No,
do that.
we do
Yeah,
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so, this is an example where we're trying to allocate additional work. We don't have the meter reading, right? This is an opportunity to do work that's necessary
Mhm.
at a reduced cost.
Mhm. Once we
You
get
know,
That
the
sounds
equipment.
like fun.
It does sound like fun, which is why I want to.
It's fun when you probably first start, but it gets pretty monotonous after you've been there
You
for a
get a
while.
hard
Yeah.
hat.
Yeah. Not saying I want to, I'm just saying. Yeah, oh, that's good.
So anyway, this is a revised capital budget.
And I think, excuse me, I'm sorry, I
Go
was
ahead.
just gonna say, that gives us visibility in the community that, you can see anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Your guys do
Well, and
do a
it
good
also
job.
puts you out there looking at the meters more and seeing if
Maybe.
that 3-inch cap
Right.
is there, yeah, okay.
Yeah, which this equipment will be perfectly capable of taking out in the event that
Oh, I mean, it'll be useful for other stuff, because we'll be able
It
to
will.
do our underground and that stuff.
Yeah.
It's got an the mulching part is an attachment that can come off.
I have a
Yes,
question
yeah.
though. What occurs if we have a pole or line that goes along where Green Mountain Powers are? Do you guys kind of work together on splitting who's going to do that tree trimming or? Because I know
We've never really, there's not a lot of it.
there's a few though, aren't there?
Very small territories that they're on the same that we're on.
Right.
And I
Might
think
be
what they've
something to
done, I
talk
think
to them.
what they've done in the past, they've kind of shared the turns on who maintains,
Yeah.
who does it.
Yeah. Not that there's that many, but it'd be interesting to bring it up to them, you know, if they're gonna
Right.
pay us to trim their area or,
Yeah, maybe it's something we can do for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, why not?
Yeah.
I'm sure they have their own.
Right,
Right.
but if they pay us to do their area,
Yeah, sure.
you know, versus, who's to say? We'll
Yeah.
find out.
Yeah,
All right.
So anyway, before you is the capital budget with those two changes. Addition of a second bucket truck out a few years, and, you know, we'll start that process. And the addition of this vegetation management this year, to see if we can fit it in.
okay. I'll make the motion to accept the revised capital budget.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Capital budget approved. Continue discussions of rate design and tariffs.
Yep. So, last month, you gave me some guidance in terms of Res 03, the on-demand residential, and trying to restructure that to keep, even though we have to be revenue neutral, how to do that within the Res 03, the demand customers. And we have a proposal for you that I think actually works pretty well. But in your little slider thing on the left side of your thing, because ultimately, this probably needs to go in your smaller book on tariffs, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't put it in this book, but I wanted to share with you that we did an analysis. If we change,
Does Kathy have?
I was gonna say, can we lend her your copy for a minute? Because I did want to bring other copies, but I didn't. Thank you. So it's 3 sheets, yep.
I ripped it a little, sorry.
Good looking.
I didn't want to give you the whole.
Thank you, Lisa, for
You're
doing that.
welcome.
Okay. So, what we did, the current demand is triggered at 2,000 kilowatt hours or 9 kilowatts demand. And what we've proposed, based on the conversation last month, is to eliminate the KWH trigger, so no longer have a trigger there, and focus on the KW, and make that from 9 to 15. So when you do that, if you look at this sheet, the horizontal sheet, the first aspects of that, it shows that we changed the customer count from 263 that are on demand, residential demand, down to 67. So you can see there was a real bell curve there of
Yeah.
people that were in the 9 to 10, 12 range. You get to 15, you bring most of those back into Res 01, and you leave 67 that are in the higher demand rate. So you've got estimated revenues and losses, but you can see basically by changing this from demand and getting that, you lose a lot of revenue in both the demand charge and the energy charge. but you gain a lot of it back in the energy charge when you switch these people back to Res 01. And we didn't do any change to the customer charge. The Res 01 customer charge is still $10.80. The Res 03 for demand is still $29.85. To make that revenue neutral, what we had to do was increase the rates for the remaining Res 03 people to 14 cents, 14.11 cents a kilowatt hour. Do you see where that is under the
I
new
see
rates
it.
section? So recognize that that's about what the rate is for our Res 01 customers anyway. But what was happening was we had reduced that to like 8 cents a kilowatt hour for demand customers because we were making such a huge demand charge on them. So I don't see the 14 cents as being unreasonable if the rest of this works out. And that brings me kind of to the next two pages. So these pages, Kathy? What we did here was look at average customers that were on residential 03 and what the cost impact would be to them under this new scenario. So under this, you can see that the average bill for Res 03 would go from $503.92 to $575.78, or an increase of about $71.86 a month. And again, we're talking about those 67 remaining customers, right? And we looked at, so that's the average, and then the next two breakdowns are for the largest KWH. Sorry, I don't have this, so I can do this so you can see. The largest KWH customer would go from $580 to $747 a month, $166.99. And the smallest KW customer that stays in the R03, so somebody who's like 15.2 KW, would see a $24 increase in their bill. So that's again for the remaining 67 customers. If you look at the next sheet, this is everybody, the other 198 that got kicked out of Res 03 and back into Res 01, and to see what their difference would be. And again, for the average of that whole group, the 196 customers, they would go from an average bill of $295.69 a month to $181.40 a month, or savings of $114.29. And doing that same example of looking at the largest customer that's moving to Res 01, they have a $537 bill. They'd go to $480. They'd still save money, but not as much, $56.55. And the smallest of the residential customers that get moved off of the demand to regular would see their bill go from $175.54 to only $25.76. So they save. That's, again, somebody really on the margin.
Right
of
there.
It's hitting the
Not
demand,
too-
but not using a lot of power.
Right.
And they're saving $150 a month.
And that's where we're getting a lot of the complaints.
So generically, what I would say, when you look at this as a whole, I was actually really pleased with how this analysis came out. Yes, there's an increase for the 67 remaining high-demand customers, but even that didn't seem outrageous based on what they were paying. And there's a substantial savings for all those that were kind of triggering between the 9 and the 15 that we're now putting back into Res 01. And it's a savings. And we are revenue neutral. This is not costing us.
Switching things.
Yeah.
So wanted to get your sense as to whether you agree that this looks about right. And if it feels like it's good, I will go, the next step is for me to go to the department, see if they'll support a rate design change for this under the innovative rate policies, and then
Which department?
Oh, it's
the
just gonna
Department of
say-
Public Service,
Oh,
sorry.
right.
Public service.
Yeah. And concurrent with that, depending on what they say, if they say, yeah, this looks good, I'll find out what that process is.
Mhm.
But it also means that we start an education process and an outreach process here to
Okay.
simultaneously go along with that. But I'm still hopeful this could all be done in 2 or 3 months, maybe by spring.
Okay.
I guess the only, just, because I've seen things like, just double check your numbers, which I'm sure
Yes.
you do anyways.
We
but
do. We
just-
will.
Okay. Because we can't do that, but we don't need to, but you can.
I
Your-
will.
Your people can.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we've been working towards for a while.
Well,
Yep.
Do you have anything to say?
what do you think, Brett?
No, I think it's the right direction to go. I mean, there's a lot of those little users, and that's where the complaint really is.
Yeah.
You know, they hit that demand, but they're not using a lot of power. It's-
Right, they're
And that's been my
0.12%
experience.
above or.
And that's been my experience through this. I mean, to not get any complaints about the 21.5% rate increase, but to get complaints about people triggering this.
Right.
All right.
It tells
Well,
me,
yeah.
tells me a lot.
That's exactly right, yeah.
By the way, I did reach out to Logan when I heard that he wasn't gonna be here. I'm not trying to represent him, but he was kind of pleased with this analysis too, and it was going in the direction that he felt it should. So
Okay.
I just wanna relay that.
Well, that's good. I like that.
What do you think, Kathy?
Conceptually, it makes sense, but I do have like numbers, I don't quite understand. I'm not sure why it's working.
Right.
So I just kind of, big picture, I'm like, not understanding why it's working, but I'm gonna trust you guys.
Well, I still wanna have the meeting with you. I think we should schedule it with
Okay.
you, me, and Michael.
Okay.
Because I think Michael and you together could really scrub this and make sure we are doing this right.
Okay.
That would be helpful to
Well,
me.
an accounting background, right? You.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but long-term, we're gonna go for new rates across the board? This is just the temporary kind of fix, right?
Right, this is a temporary trial for this one. It's good for 18 months,
Okay,
but I still do think Ludlow is due for a total rate redesign where we look at industrial, commercial, and other stuff, which we can't really do right now.
okay, and we'll be able to do that once the meters have been going for a while, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
All right, so a couple people have known I've been coming to these meetings, and one of the things I got bugged about a lot is the Airbnbs and why they aren't commercial, but
Right.
that's another issue.
Right,
Well, because we don't have a registry for Airbnbs.
Right.
And that's something I know the town has looked at
Right.
doing. It didn't pass last time. I'm sure it'll be brought up again. But without a registry, you can't know.
But you can send something to all people and say, you have to attest the fact that you're not running this as a business, including Airbnbs.
The-
On another note, though, if it's registered into an LLC or something like that, they go on a commercial rate.
they do, even if it's just single. So if
So
they've
you've
done
got
it as
some.
an LLC.
Right, we do
But-
have some.
But the
Right.
definition of residence is that if it is occupied as a residence, it's residential. Even if, especially if it's 1 meter, if you do an Airbnb, it's still residential. If you do, and this is where we run into other issues, if you do other activities, it's considered still residential because the primary use. I
Is
can't even say the
residential.
primary use from a power standpoint, but the primary occupants is a residence. It's a difficult issue because we had somebody doing Bitcoin mining, but they're doing it from their home. Or we have somebody doing marijuana growing from their home.
Well, they're gonna hit 15 kW,
Right,
so.
Yeah.
right. So it's been really interesting to see where that is, and the definitions may be something that the Public Utility Commission is willing to revisit for these reasons, but right now we're kind of stuck with those.
Right, so the rate design, that's gonna take some time.
Yes.
So is that, because right now this isn't looking at the high demand periods, like on Fridays during the winter.
Right.
So this is just across the board, but that rate design could possibly deal with that timing of rate usage or whatever the terminology is.
Right, my hope is that ultimately we'll be able to explore time of use rates, which I think is what you're talking about, both in terms of days and hours, to try and help bring down the peak and have different things, but, you know, we're a ways away from being able to do that. That's what the data, that's what the year's worth of data is needed for.
Okay, and considering, well, just because we're at war right now and our energy prices are gonna be going up, is this gonna have an effect on us in the next 6 months?
No.
If we
Well, we don't know that.
Rates, well, I don't know about the war having an effect on us,
But the
but,
cost of energy.
Our fuel purchase, power purchases could change.
yeah, but we're stuck with the rates we got, right?
Right.
Well, our rates.
Right.
But what we buy power for, yeah, we're in for a year, but
No, correct, but, and the power purchase, I think, yes, to Brett's point, yes, that will affect our rates buying it on the market as we do tomorrow and the next day. Does not affect your rates
Right,
as users.
okay, so we could go into a deficit.
Again, yes.
again.
Okay, And, okay, just a couple of quick questions.
Sure.
Are our billings gonna change now that we're on these new meters, or is it gonna be the same old?
Kathy, I didn't hear your question.
Our billing, is that gonna change?
Cycle? The cycle?
The
or-
cycle?
No, the
look?
The look.
No,
Is that
it
gonna
shouldn't.
change?
No, if you think it should, let us know, but no, it should stay the same.
Okay.
Well,
And what
would it-
about the hub? The
Would we
smart-
want to be showing time of usage? or-
No, they can get on and pull that up if they wish to see
Oh,
it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Do we have to update our online smart hub?
No,
Because I can't see that.
no, you will be able to see that, and one of the things.
Actually, you won't be able to see it yet because you're on solar and your meters haven't been changed.
But
Well, we got changed yesterday.
they got changed because
Oh.
we, yes, I think they got changed. But what I noticed when I looked at the smart hub is because I am not triggering a demand rate, I am not seeing the KW usage on my bill.
I'm not
And I
either.
said, we have to fix that, and we are, so everybody will be able to see the KW. But if that's what you're talking about right now, you can't see it
Right.
unless you are already on demand,
I'm on demand and I can't see it.
and you still
So,
can't see
I
it.
still can't.
Because it was just changed yesterday, it takes a couple days
Oh,
for
on the new
Smart.
meters.
Yes,
Oh,
for
okay.
Smart Hub to show up, for your hourly, and it might not show the kilowatt, but it will show the kilowatt hours, but it does take a couple days
Oh,
to show
okay.
up on Smart Hub.
Okay, even though I've been on demand, then somebody's been
Right.
monitoring my
But I think-
KW anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you had a
because
demand
it wasn't
meter.
going into Smart Hub directly, because the AMI meter just got put in yesterday, so it should be a couple days before you can see it.
And I know, once you put solar on, it just screws everything up.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, on a more positive note, I think though there is still a smart hub programming issue where you're not gonna see the KW until we get a program change there, which we're working on.
Okay, because I've been going out and looking at my meter. That's the only reason I know, because you guys didn't even turn on more
Okay.
power.
Yeah,
So I'm like, I just gave up, and last night I plugged in my car. It went out, so it was like 4.5 kW, and then this morning I looked and it's like 10 something.
yeah. Another good news thing is our plan is to reset everybody back to zero. Nobody is gonna be on demand for 2 months to see what their demand is. So if their demand is 15 for 2 months in a row, we'll put them back onto demand. But we anticipate that to be the 67 remaining people,
Right.
not the rest.
That-
If there's something you guys want to discuss, we could always do it in a staff meeting. That would be cool.
That's the first I've heard about that one.
It was asked about last month.
Yeah,
in
we
terms of
talked about it
resetting
last-
people
were
back
you
to
there?
zero.
Sorry, no,
You
I
weren't
was
here
in
last,
Texas.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I would still welcome, because if this isn't right, I need to know. So I would welcome your,
Yeah.
working with Michael on it to see how we're doing it.
Should I give him a call?
Yeah, I think if you're ready to do the meeting that we talked about, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, I'll call him directly and let him figure it out.
Cool.
You can keep those.
You sure?
I can print more out.
Do you want these floating around?
I think it's public information, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's in the meeting.
It's in the meeting already,
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Kathy. So, I guess what I'm looking for is, are you comfortable enough with this to move, for me to move the next step, as I described, to go into the Department of Public Service?
I am, and especially since I know that you're gonna look closely at it again, just because we want it to know it's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
I can speak for myself, yes.
no, I agree with you.
So, kind of generally, because these numbers probably will change, but,
Right.
but conceptually, in the right direction, you feel like it's okay to proceed and see if we can put a finer point on it?
Yes, being
Okay.
someone who's been on demand for, I absolutely am all for this.
Great.
And, okay. So when you do have the meeting with Michael and Kathy, I'd love to hear feedback on that and.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe in one of our weekly meetings or just
Yeah,
however you want to do that.
I can do that. So that's all I have really on rate design and tariffs. What I will say is I did ask to do the same exercise for commercial. Can't do it right now. It's too complicated. There are too
Okay.
many different commercial rates.
Yeah.
So this is the first, this is
How
what
many
I can do.
complaints are we getting from commercial customers? Lower, higher,
the
the
two big
resident?
ones.
Not, the two big
Two big
ones, just
ones.
Apimo and Magris, and
Magris.
they're respectfully complaining. I mean, they're basically like, and we're with them, we're working
Yeah.
in partnership to see how to reduce their electric costs.
Yep.
And, we're not coming up with, a magic bullet right now,
Yet.
yet.
Do we see any reason for executive session for today? I don't have any, no.
I don't.
Okay. No executive session needed. No action from executive session. Number 15, other business?
Not for me.
No?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting.